The Terror frozen in ice. There's nothing quite as fascinating as a ship stuck in the ice, but even more amazing is the story of the HMS Erebus and the HMS Terror, two ships that went missing in 1845 and were recently discovered completely trapped in the ice and still relatively intact. These two ships were part of the Royal Navy expedition led by Captain Sir John Franklin, in which they tried to navigate through the Northwest Passage to get to the other side. It is one of the most famous naval tragedies in history and has inspired books and even television series. It's fascinating because all 129 men on the expedition died under mysterious circumstances after abandoning the vessels and trying to make it to safety on foot. Of course, none of the crew members made it to safety, but they didn't die right away either. It's generally believed that over 2 winters trapped in thick ice, the 129 crew members slowly and miserably came to their ends, likely after resorting to cannibalism. But now, nearly 200 years after this horrifying tragedy, both expedition ships have finally been discovered. The HMS Erebus was found in 2014 by Parks Canada, firmly stuck inside the ice. Then, in 2016, the HMS Terror was found by an Arctic research team in near-perfect condition. Both boats had been stuck inside the ice for around 175 years. Incan Mummies. The Children of Llullaillaco, also known as the Mummies of Llullaillaco, are 3 child mummies of Inca origin found way back in March of 1999. They were discovered near the summit of a massive stratovolcano near the border of Argentina and Chile, over 22,000 feet above sea level. But what makes these mummies so incredible is that they were found perfectly preserved in the ice. Further investigation by archaeologists revealed that the children had been sacrificed in an ancient Inca ritual that took place somewhere around the year 1500. But what kind of ritual was being done at the top of a volcano? Well, scientists say that the 3 children were drugged, placed inside of a small chamber in the ground, and then basically just left to die. But because of the high altitude and the freezing conditions, they were perfectly preserved in ice until their rediscovery. In fact, they were so well preserved that the children still had hair, skin, and all their internal organs. One of the children's hearts still contained frozen blood. Scientists are now saying that these are the best preserved Inca mummies ever discovered. But why were they sacrificed? What purpose did the death of these children serve? The truth is that it's still a bit of a mystery. Some historians believe that sacrifice by the Incans was an important way to commemorate special events, like the death of an important member of society. It was also a way to offer the gods something to gain favor during times of famine or of strife. However, they didn't do this kind of thing willy-nilly. In order to sacrifice children at the top of the volcano, the Inca emperor had to give his direct approval. Woolly rhinoceros. Child mummies can be pretty disturbing. So let's move on to a frozen woolly rhinoceros recently discovered in Siberia. This special woolly mammoth made headlines all over the world when it was found by a local farmer in Yakutia, Siberia back in August 2020. It's generally believed that the woolly rhinoceros went extinct around 15,000 years ago, but this particular rhino was found to be even older. About 20,000 years ago, the young rhino was going about its daily business when it likely drowned in a river in Siberia and became frozen. A few millennia later, the melting permafrost revealed the final moments of this rhino's life. Unlike a lot of discoveries of woolly rhinoceroses and woolly mammoths, this specimen was unusually well preserved, with scientists even finding its last meal still sitting frozen inside of its belly. The rhino still had its hair, and even its horn was found close to its corpse. All of these amazing finds are going to help scientists to properly study the anatomy and behavior of the woolly rhinoceros when it was alive, which is absolutely crucial to science, especially if we're ever hoping to bring these creatures back from extinction. And while resurrection is not on the table right now, if we get more impressive specimens like this unveiled within the melting snow, you just never know what the future could hold. Have you found anything totally frozen in the ice? If you live somewhere where it gets cold in the winter, you might have found interesting plants or even an animal frozen solid. Tell me about the most bizarre ones you've seen by writing in the comments section below. Remember to subscribe to Talltanic if you have not already for more intense videos just like this one. 91 volcanoes under Antarctica. This might be the scariest discovery ever, ice or no ice. According to PBS, Scottish scientists have found 91 volcanoes locked underneath a giant sheet of ice in the western part of Antarctica. These scientists believe that they have now revealed one of the biggest and most extensive volcanic regions on our planet. These volcanoes are located inside of a 2,000-mile valley that was created in prehistoric times by separating tectonic plates. If the discovery proves to be correct and the scientists really did find 91 new volcanoes, it brings the total number of frozen volcanoes in Antarctica to 138. These volcanoes are also quite diverse, ranging anywhere from 300 feet to 12,600 feet. Even more incredible is that all these new volcanoes were rediscovered by an undergraduate student from the University of Edinburgh who came up with the idea pretty much on his own. The guy single-handedly analyzed radar maps and studied the underside of the ice sheet, analyzing the land using satellite imagery to discover the volcanoes. But here's the big question. Could the volcanoes melt Antarctica's ice in a single day? Imagine if the temperature in Antarctica suddenly skyrocketed as fire and lava belched into the sky. It could be catastrophic for the world. Luckily, these volcanoes appear to be dormant. It's unlikely there would be an eruption anytime in humanity's future. However, even a dormant volcano is able to melt ice because of high temperatures being generated underground. There does not appear to be a problem right now, but that could certainly change without warning. This is definitely a terrifying discovery that everybody should keep on their radar. Arctic craters. Fortunately, these craters are less threatening than underground volcanoes, but they are still a little worrisome. In northern Siberia, giant craters have been exploding into the earth, and scientists say that we should be worried. According to a report from CNBC, the unprecedented melting rate of the Siberian permafrost is causing huge explosions that could threaten many lives. While there is a lot of scientific evidence to take into consideration, such as the landscape and ecology, the changes in the Earth's natural orbit, and rising temperatures, the main thing to know is that the sinkholes have been blowing open in the landscape, likely because of gas exploding. Carbon dioxide and methane are being released at extremely high rates. When the ice melts too quickly and the gases previously frozen are released suddenly, they explode, which causes giant meteor-like craters to erupt in the Earth. This can prove devastating if you happen to be standing in the wrong spot at the wrong time. Alien markings in the ice. This horrifying tale of things frozen in the ice takes us off planet Earth all the way to the dwarf planet of Ceres. According to a report from the Daily Mail, a series of strange alien markings have been discovered on the surface of this tiny planet. They are currently boggling scientists who have only a few theories about what the bright spots could be. When the spots were first discovered, some believed that they were the markings of an alien civilization. However, scientists from the Solar System Research in Germany now believe the bright spots detected could be water and ice. If you're not sure what Ceres is, it is the largest object within the asteroid belt that sits between Mars and Jupiter. It's not really a planet, but it is the largest piece of rock within the orbit of Neptune. It's like a really big moon that does not belong to any planet, and according to this new research, it could have frozen ice inside of its craters. We don't know what kind of amazing things could be trapped inside of that ice, but scientists do claim that the reason bright spots have been seen on Ceres is because the frozen water inside the craters is emitting a sort of hazy ice cloud, almost like dust particles. These particles cause the dwarf planet to be lit up as if by alien hubs hidden within the craters. But no, it's not aliens, it's just frozen water. Baffling ice structure. Some very impressive satellite images have revealed a mysterious icy dome structure on the continent of Antarctica that is fueling the belief that an ancient civilization once thrived there and that their cities can still be found inside of the ice. To be frank, this new discovery is baffling scientists all across the world. The satellite images were first captured by Google Earth, and they appear to show an oval-shaped building hidden beneath the snow. It looks to be roughly 400 feet across, and definitely man-made. With more research, it is possible that we could discover ancient stone buildings underneath the snow, but unfortunately, scientists are not all on board. They instead say that the shape is simply a product of snow amassing in a strange pattern because of strong winds. twins. This is obviously a huge bummer, and I think that someone needs to get down there ASAP with a shovel and start digging to see what they can find. There have been claims of hidden cities on the continent for decades, and it's about time scientists put some serious effort into tracking down any potential evidence underneath the ice and snow of an ancient society that once ruled the Antarctic continent. And who knows, maybe we'll even find Atlantis. New virus found in glacier. There's been a lot of wild speculation recently, especially with the deadly coronavirus raging across the planet, that somewhere buried deep within the ice is a virus that humans have never seen before, just waiting to unleash itself on humanity. And while this may seem like the synopsis for a horror movie, it's a lot closer to the truth than many of us want to believe. For example, a never-before-seen virus was recently discovered within a glacier of ice in Tibet. Scientists recently took a closer look at 2 ice samples from a Tibetan glacier, and they revealed the existence of 28 virus groups previously unknown to humankind. This is a real thing that happened. According to Live Science, the team of scientists had to wipe away the outer layers of their core ice samples using ethanol and sterile water to reach the very center of the samples, which were uncontaminated. They did this inside of a cold room with stabilized temperatures so that they could get a real look at what kind of horrors were waiting within the ice. This experiment revealed 28 unknown virus groups. While this is not immediately threatening, it is cause for concern. The worst case scenario means that as the ice melts, all of these unknown pathogens are released into the environment. And while it could mean nothing but a few more variations of the common cold, it could also mean the extinction of the human race. The frozen lake from hell. High up in the Himalayas is a frozen lake of mystery and death. The initial discovery of this lake happened about 75 years ago, but since then scientists have revealed even more clues as to the origins of this horrific place in India. It all started with a British forest ranger in 1942 who stumbled upon Rupkund Lake and its frozen secrets. Within the lake, the British ranger found the skeletal remains of hundreds of people, and while this definitely seems strange at first, it gets even stranger. Over the following years, more and more information was brought to light about who the skeletons were and how they died. The biggest mystery now is that radiocarbon dating has revealed that the skeletons all died at various times. It was not one large burial. Instead, some of the bodies proved to be a couple hundred years old, while others proved to be thousands of years old. It turns out that for thousands of years, people have been making a pilgrimage to this lake and dying there. But why? Well, scientists don't really know, but they do know that the skeletons found frozen in the ice did not only come from that one region of India. Genetic analysis showed that the skeletons found inside of the lake came from South Asia all the way to Greece. To this date, researchers have no idea what could lure so many different people from so many parts of the world up to a random lake in the Himalayas to die. It's a complete mystery. Mount Rainier Snow Monster. While strolling through the Mount Rainier National Park in Washington State, a woman came across a curious sight. She had stopped by a flowing creek to enjoy the scenery when something strange came floating down the water. The woman took a photo of what she saw, but it's a little hard to comprehend. In fact, it's a little hard to see. But if you squint hard enough, you'll notice that there appears to be the face of a horrifying monster petrified in a chunk of floating ice. National Geographic even uploaded the photograph into their blog, calling it a snow monster. But it's hardly a snow monster, as I would definitely call it an ice monster. Of course, this monster is not real and it's not going to eat anyone. It's just a strange pattern in the floating piece of ice that looks like a face, more specifically like the face of Bigfoot. And who knows, maybe Bigfoot is wandering around Mount Rainier, molding his face into the ice for fun. Which of these icy discoveries chilled you to the bone? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you have not already, and come back soon for another amazing video.